Ker bomo danes gledali Scary Stories. Pa začnimo, to je challenge, moj prvi challenge.
I was looking for a car to buy for my son for his 18th birthday. I was searching all the typical car websites, cars.com, eBay Motors. They were all overpriced as expected. Craigslist was the only place to find an actual deal. About a week into my search, I found an 03 Toyota Camry. It had 67,000 miles, no accidents, no damage, and good condition for only $3,500. This seems like a steal for such a reliable car with such low mileage. The seller lived about 10 miles from me, which was a reasonable drive when looking for a car. I gave him a call to set up a time to come check it out. The man sounded normal on the phone. He assured me that there were absolutely no problems with the car.
Oh my god, oh, fuck, that is that.
I gave him a call to set up a time to come check it out. The man sounded
No,
normal
bro,
on the phone.
don't do it.
He assured me that there were
Don't do it,
absolutely...
brother. Lejte te brke. Brki so. Ja, pa tudi, lejte to. Leto, klej pa gor, to je fucking stacionaren telefon. To je bilo, kdaj je bilo to objavljen? A ja, 2016, ampak takrat so bili telefoni ne vem kakšni že, ne pa stacionarni, fuj.
Absolutely no problems with the car. He introduced himself as Bob.
Mama zelo zobek.
I brought along $3,500 in cash, even though I planned on wiggling down the price as much as possible. I pulled up the dirt road to Bob's property about 15 minutes early. It was a tiny little...
Oh, bog, what the fuck? Ta tip kupuje nov avto, medtem ko se sem pripelje z napol Lamborghinijem. To mi pove. To mi fucking pove. Leto, ta avto je, po mojem, ne vem, me zgleda kakšen star Ferrari, ampak ta avto je definitivno boljši od tistega sranja. Tako da prvič ne vem, zakaj bi rabil ta tip avto.
House with a decent-sized property, only because I was a bit far from the nearest neighbors. The garage was open, so I walked over to see if anybody was inside. But except for an unusual amount of car parts, it was empty. The car was nowhere in sight. The only car on the property was an old pickup truck. I went over to the front door to check the house numbers. It was the right address. The doorbell button was missing, so I knocked on the front door. I knocked for
Kaj pa je to? Kaj pa je fucking to? Zakaj ti trka, če ima tukaj zvonc? Super.
Exactly 5 minutes before deciding to give the man a call. So I dialed his number and I heard the sound of a cell phone ringing from inside the house. I was extremely confused at this point. Now I knew I had the right house. I didn't understand why, if he was home, why he wasn't answering. I decided I had to take a peek through one of the windows to see if anybody was inside. Peering through the glass, I couldn't really see much as it was pretty dark inside the house. I saw a very old-fashioned dining room set, but across from that, I saw somebody standing at the back door of the house, staring outside. I figured that must have been Bob, so I knocked on the window, but he didn't even move. There was no gate or anything to the backyard. It was just a wide-open yard.
Zdaj, ki je pogledal, je gledal v to smer. Zakaj se tle bajta čez 2 metra konča, tam je pa še 10 metrov.
This wasn't a rural area. I simply walked around the house to the backyard. I didn't understand how he couldn't hear me. When I got to the back door, I made a shocking realization. The figure standing by the door was a taxidermied human being.
Oh.
I ran straight back the way I came and back to my car. I looked up one last time before driving off. The blinds to the window I had peeked into had been shut, but I could see 2 of the blinds bent open. Somebody was at that window watching me. You can probably guess I had the gas pedal to the floor the whole way home. The whole situation still makes no sense.
My goodness, brother, this... To sploh ni bilo scary.
All the car parts, the fact that there was no Toyota Camry, the taxidermied human
Kaj
being,
narobe s tim autom?
the fact that there was no car
Kaj
there
narobe s tim
leads me
autom?
to believe that whoever that man wasn't planning on selling me anything. And that also leads to the disturbing thought that I was very close to becoming a lifeless statue staring out that man's back door.
Te taka moj sošolec. Mislim, da si hotel večkrat obgledati. Tukaj po vratu si s flomasterjem narisal črte, ki se bo odrezal. Ali pa to samo še njegova koža. Meni to bolj tako zgleda. Okay, another one.
I was on tour trying to find some really deep websites. I was in a chat room where people normally shared links to deeper websites and weird pictures and videos, commonly illegal pornography. Some guy named Vintage XXX posted a link without describing what it was.
This is
I
sick,
clicked on
boy.
it, and it took me to a black screen where a big video box eventually popped up with a play button.
It's not good.
The video thumbnail was a dark room, only lit by a TV screen. Out of
But-
curiosity, I clicked
it's
play
Batman.
and began to hear the sound of TV static in the background as lines of static slowly swam down the video screen.
dokler še lahko.
There was no seek bar in this video. Then I noticed something slowly begin to emerge from behind the wall.
Oh,
It was a figure dressed in all black with some kind of black mask on as well.
ta,
I started to suspect
ta tip, ki je prej klestal, si tako mislil, zdaj si več nekaj ne videl. Počas, da me ne videl. In pa si tam stal in je mislil, da si kar tam pokazal.
it was a jump scare video,
Baš,
and I thought I was right when the figure leaped out and ran to the screen in less than a second.
Oh, fuck.
It still got
Ok, zdaj vemo, da je to aklet. Aklet, pa da je glup. Ok.
me, even though I was expecting it. But then it got strange. The person had their face in front of the screen, slowly moving around as if he could see me and was observing me. Then I heard a crackly, demonic voice say something.
To ni dobro.
It came from the video.
To ni dobro.
It repeated itself, and I could make the phrase out to be,
Ugasni laptop.
"Ask me something."
Ugasni ga.
I was really confused. I tried typing something, but there was nowhere to enter text. Then he said, "No, not the keyboard. Say something." I felt my heart punch the inside of my chest as he said this. I opened my mouth and mumbled the words, "You can hear me?" It responded with, "Yes." I was uncomfortable now. I thought it was a video. I pressed pause, but it didn't do anything. He said, "Don't try to leave. I want to talk." I tried moving the mouse to the exit button, but the mouse was frozen.
Dan.
In fact, none of the keys were responding on my keyboard.
Zapri pofukan
There was a
laptop.
long moment of
Vza
silence
baterije ven in
before my webcam
je še
began
cement
flashing
naredil,
as if it were on.
bi razbil
My
laptop, pa ga
face popped
fuknil
up on the
skozi okno,
screen.
pa ga sežgal.
"There, I got a picture of you now.
Zapri
Now
pofukan
just come while I get
laptop.
your address, and then we can meet."
Obute bo,
I started
zapri
to panic,
laptop.
smashing every key on the keyboard, spazzing the mouse, but it did nothing.
Zapri ga.
I had my finger on the power button, but it also didn't do anything.
Fuck.
The computer wouldn't turn off. The voice was saying
Dam
crazy things
baterije,
like,
zapri
"You're
laptop,
stuck here.
destroy ga.
I will find you.
Destroy.
Don't even bother." I snatched the screwdriver sitting on my desk, unscrewed the 4 screws on the
Bravo.
bottom of my laptop, and took out the battery.
Bravo,
The computer finally turned off.
bravo.
I was gasping for air as if I just ran a marathon. My heart was pounding 5 times as fast as it should have. I have since left my laptop off after that,
Yeah.
and have resorted to using my desktop as my main computer.
That's right, boy.
I'm sure by now nothing will happen. He definitely didn't have enough time to get my address.
Zgleda moj dolg čas, da tako tapka. Še kaj,
It was very common for me to be home alone at night, as I only lived these nights
Dajmo
watching
malo
movies.
naprej. Oh,
It's always taken me a long time to fall asleep, so after turning off the TV to go to sleep, I probably laid there for a good half hour. Then I heard a toy fall over in my toy closet. It was nothing too
neč
suspicious, but
pogledat.
it still creeped me out.
Zaspi.
But then the doorknob to my
pogled.
closet started to
Ne,
wiggle
oh, fuck,
until
ne.
finally unlocking the
Skri si
door.
pod deko. Skri se
I hid under my
podeko, brat.
covers, not making a sound.
Poviješ.
It was strangely quiet for a good 2 minutes, so I finally peeked my head out of the covers. There was a figure standing next to my bed, looking down at me. I screamed at the top of my
Aha,
lungs
prdno je. Zdaj vemo, da ga napena. Prdno je in zato ima ta tip to masko.
and began hugging the wall behind me.
Vzel
The
mu
figure looked
deko,
out the
oh
window
fuck.
and then just walked away out of the room. I stayed in that position
Ti
for like
vzame
an
deko
hour
ga
before
ubiti.
checking if he was really
To
gone.
si spomnite.
The front door was left
To
wide
si
open,
spomnite,
so it
bratje,
seemed he had
pa
left.
sestre.
I
Vrteni,
didn't get a minute of sleep
jaz
that
ne vem,
night.
ali imamo v kanalu so kakšne punce. Kontaktirajte me.
This story is from the point of view of a 16-year-old girl. I used to have a boy living next door to me that was
16?
obsessed with me. His name was Joey. Every time I would go outside, Joey would come outside as well, as if he were watching me through his windows, waiting for me. He was 17 and very weird, and he didn't seem to have any friends, as he was always home. I tried to give every sign possible that I didn't like this guy, but he wouldn't get the message. So I had to finally just tell him one day that I don't like him and to leave me alone. The look on his face that day is something that won't leave me. It was the kind of angry
se mu
look a
strgom,
toddler
zdaj
gives
jo pa
their
ubil.
parents when they can't have a toy. Coming from a 17-year-old, that's much more disturbing. One night, my parents left me to watch the house.
Adijo.
I was
Dio
working on a
punca.
school project when
Grief.
I felt my bed shift a little bit. I looked under my bed.
Fuck.
I screamed as I saw Joey laying under my bed.
Fuck.
I ran away while he tried to crawl out from under my bed. I ran to his house and rang the bell at least 10 times, telling his parents about it when they opened the door. Joey never came out of my house, so I called the police. His parents begged me not to, but I ignored them. The police found him still in my room and arrested him. Apparently, he admitted this wasn't the first time he had hid under my bed.
Da.
They also found pictures of me scattered across his room. The most disturbing one was of me
Nekaj
sleeping,
stat.
and it was taken from inside my room.
Oh, bro.
Working the night shift always sucked. I work in an office building
Mislim,
and
da
would
postajam
constantly do the
pešast,
night
le,
shifts since
ko
it was the only
gledam
time
tele
it would work out for me.
grozljivke,
I was
skozi
just about
drgnem
always the only
svoje
person on the floor I worked
lepe
on,
lase
possibly in the whole building.
in zdaj
There
sem
would always
opazil,
be
da
a
mi jih
kind
je
of
ful odpadalo.
eerie feeling to being in such a big building
Pešast
with most of the
postanem,
lights
kot
out
hotel,
and
ta moj jat.
absolutely no one around.
Ponoči se je
But on the upside, it was peaceful and less stressful, and I was able to get a lot of work
Ja,
done.
zdaj sem cel
There was this
laseh.
one night, though. It was a Friday
Eight.
night, around 2 in the morning. I was typing away on my keyboard when I heard a noise from outside my cubicle. It
To so
sounded
samo
like just a random
varnostniki.
crack from the walls
Včasih so samo varnostniki, tako da lej popč, ti nemaš nič skrbeti.
or something. It's unusual in this
Se oni
building, but
skrbijo
I
za
didn't
red.
get too concerned about it. I resumed typing away and was once again interrupted by a sound. This time, the sound of a computer starting up. It caught me off guard. I was sure nobody else was working the night shift. I stood up on my chair to get a view over the cubicle walls. The glare of a computer screen in the dark was visible in a cubicle on the opposite side of the room.
Kakšne polja.
Then I did something stupid, something I regret. I asked if
Ne
there was anybody
poklicat.
there in a yell, hoping to get an answer from a fellow employee. But instead, I saw the glaring light of the computer monitor across the room turn off, and there was once again nothing but darkness on that side of the room. I started
Ja,
getting
ene
nervous.
tle, ene
I turned off the
definitivno
lamp and
fucking
computer
tle.
screen so that I wouldn't give away my position to whoever that was. I crouched down and tiptoed out across to a nearby cubicle. There was just utter silence. I sat waiting for something to happen for God knows how long, but I eventually decided the coast was clear. I tiptoed down past all the cubicles until I reached the opening near the exit door to the stairs and elevators,
Ja,
and that's when I realized that
pet
my
ven.
fearful suspicion
Ja,
was true.
ja, tako.
There was a man
Ven.
crouched down behind a
Ven.
plant in the corner of the room, dressed in all black.
Pet
I felt my heart
fucking
sink as I
ven,
noticed him,
stec.
but it didn't seem like he knew that I noticed him. I turned back to the stairway door. There was no way I was going to wait for the elevator and take a chance.
Ok, what the fuck.
I casually opened the door and closed it
Zakaj
behind
ne
me,
gre
proceeding to walk down
ven?
the stairs. After making it down about 2 flights of stairs, I heard the door above me push open aggressively, followed by manic, echoing footsteps
No,
coming
još kad se
fast down the
zgriče
stairs.
Nation, promuje.
I raced down the stairs, running as
Promuje.
fast as I could, all while the footsteps above me were
Zdaj se
getting
spomni,
louder.
da pšuva ne.
I finally made it to the first
Enega
floor,
namerava
raced
ubiti in
through the
on to ve...
lobby, and
Ne,
out the front door.
bo še malo
Whoever was in
stal,
there didn't
dok
follow
čas
me.
mu je kaj.
I immediately called
Pa
the
še,
cops, along
pa
with
še
one of my
krivi
bosses.
To se
My
pa
boss said no one was
izplača.
scheduled to work except for me. The cops scanned the place from top to bottom.
A
There
ti
was
je
no one
še
in there.
klicat?
I couldn't help them out with any description other than he was wearing all black. I did continue to do the night shift for about a week after that, with my boss allowing me to lock all possible entrances to the floor, including the elevators. But I still wasn't comfortable with it, so ever since, I've been doing the day shifts.
Zih se vzekle, ki je pojavil. Okej, mogoče bi mogel malo pospraviti svoje nasilje.
This happened 4 years ago when I was still in high school. I was told to do my last delivery of my shift. I got in my car, which was a 1999 Camry, perfect for delivering pizzas. I GPSed the address on my phone. I live upstate in the country, so all pizza deliveries were long drives. I remember the sun was starting to set, so it was probably around 7 o'clock. I'd say after a good 15 minutes of driving through the foresty dirt roads, my GPS said I had arrived. It was an old little cottage-like house made almost entirely of wood. It was sitting all by itself in the middle of absolutely nothing but forest. The lawn...
Krenut sem živi njegova babi. Pozdravila je. In pa ga je pozdravila. Preden jo je pobrala.
was completely unkept, as the grass was almost at knee height.
Ne,
I was used to this kind of thing, so I didn't think much of it.
A ja,
I
ne
took the
morem
pizza to
pita.
the front door.
Zdaj sem se tukaj
There was no
ukvarjal s temi
doorbell,
lasmi, da
so I
nisem
knocked
mogel.
loudly on the door. Within 10 seconds, I heard the sound of footsteps hitting wood on the inside of the house. The footsteps made it to the door and stopped. I started to feel uneasy. I got the feeling that I was being watched. And that's when I noticed there was a peephole in the door. "It's the pizza guy," I called out. I heard a low, harsh-sounding voice on the other side of the door, telling me to bring the pizza out back. I didn't like the idea of going back there. Something didn't seem right. "Are you sure, sir?" I called out. He didn't answer my question. The sound of footsteps didn't move away from the door, so I had the feeling he was still watching me.
Yep.
I almost found myself walking back to my car, but I decided I didn't want any trouble with my boss. The last time I brought a pizza back, he gave me attitude, so I reluctantly walked through the uncut grass and around the small house to the back. I remember there was a shed and a little patio back there. In the patio, there was a table with 4 chairs surrounding it. In one of the chairs, facing away from me, I saw the head of somebody sitting in the seat. I began walking over and said, "Excuse me," but the person didn't even move an inch. "Excuse me," I said again louder. Then from behind me, I heard, "Psst, over here." I turned around to see a man poking his head out from the corner of the house, looking at me with a crazed smile. "Come over here, I want to show you something." I freaked out, turned around, and ran around the house in the opposite direction, back to my car, for some reason still holding the pizza. I got in my car, started it, and got away from there. On my way back to the pizzeria, I pulled over to the side of the road and called the police. Eventually, I was informed that there was no sign of anybody having been in that house for a long time. I quit my delivery job a few days after that. I have no idea what would have happened to me had I gone up to that man, but to this day, I still wish I had just turned my head to see who or what was sitting in that patio chair.
Не показать. О, фак, не просто показали, закай. Фу, zdaj mu bo glava odpadla. 100% mu bo odpadla glava. Ha. Kva sem fucking vedel. Okay, next.
It was during a blizzard in Valley Stream. I was getting paid $250 to watch some couple's kid while they went away for the weekend.
Happy New Year!
His name was Matthew. This took place on the first night, which was a Friday night. Matthew was already supposedly asleep, while I was in the living room watching a movie. I got a knock at the door and looked at the clock.
Zdaj
It
bo
was
odprl
close to midnight.
in
There was
mu
no
bo
way I was
začel
opening
unipiti.
it. Not even 10 seconds later, I heard the sound of
FBI, open up!
two or three men angrily banging on the door, telling me to open up. It felt like my heart was about
FBI,
to
open
stop.
up! Zdaj mu bo pa tako
I took a
udaril.
peek through the blinds, and there was somebody standing right on the other side of the window.
The
I
fuck?
fell back in fear,
What the
and after
fuck?
managing to get back on my feet, I ran to the
Skozi
kitchen
okno
phone
pa
first
upaj,
thing
da
to call the
obreš.
police. They said because of the weather, it could take a while for an officer to get here. I was told to take the child and hide somewhere until an officer arrived. They wanted to keep me on the line, but I wasn't thinking clearly in the heat of the moment and hung up. However, it wasn't until I ran through the living room
Au.
that I realized the banging had stopped. I took a second peek through the living room window. Nobody was there
Zdaj
now.
bom izskočil ven ga.
I heard the sound of glass shattering from a few rooms over. My knees started to feel weak as I realized they had just broken the window and were about to climb into the house. I had to run and get Matthew. I couldn't just leave without him. Of course, when I got upstairs, there was no time left to run back downstairs, as I already heard footsteps and laughter coming from downstairs. I covered Matthew's mouth with my hand as I ran with him into his toy closet. A few minutes
Sem
dragged on to
sekiro
what
pa ga
felt like half
razbil.
an hour as we sat there in the dark
Razbiti ga
closet.
ti pa.
Matthew began
On
to
ima v rokah
squeal
sam
as
note.
footsteps on the carpet reached the outside of his bedroom door. There was more than one person. They came inside. There weren't many places to hide in this room. I was actually reflecting on my whole life, so sure I was gonna die. We heard the sound of a police siren outside, even from in the closet, and then I heard one of the men in the room mutter, "Oh shit." I opened the door back up as I heard at least 3 pairs of footsteps hurriedly rushing down the stairs. They didn't get far, as the police later found their footprints in the
lahko takele
backyard,
lupa tako
leading to our
velika?
shed. There were
Zdaj
5 men in
nasprotja.
total, and they were all arrested.
A, 5 jih je bilo. Oh, fuck. What the napis?
This happened when I was 15 years old. My best friend
15?
Anthony wanted me to come over for the night, since his parents would be gone all weekend. I rode my bike over and put it in his backyard before...
Jaz sem, danes je nedelja, danes med pa fotor pridete nazaj, pa tudi Majmon, se pravi moja sestra, Mona, oh fuck, čez cel vikend sem bil sam, razen mama pa ata sta bila dol, cel nadstropje sem bil zase. In zato ste v 3 dneh dobili tako skoraj 10 videov.
letting myself in through his back door. We played basically every video game
72 ur gikam, še nič nisem spal.
he had, from FIFA all the way to Call of Duty, with popcorn and other junk food spilled out all over the floor. As the night progressed, we moved from video games to watching half a movie and getting bored to doing prank calls at close to 10 o'clock. Anthony made a few calls to different pizza places. When it was my turn, I just dialed a few random numbers in hopes
Zdaj bom rekel, I will find you. Don't worry. I will find you. Don't worry. I will find you. And I will kill you.
to get someone at their house. On, say, my 4th attempt, I finally reached somebody. A guy with a deep and rough voice picked up, answering with a yeah instead of a hello. Anthony's laughing in the background made me stumble with my words mid-sentence, ultimately cracking up into laughter. I had never...
Mi, ko smo šli šolo v Piran, sem jaz tudi te čudake klical in pol sem takle bil pogovor. Halo, slišali smo, da prodajate želve. Pol ona, ne, to je napačna številka. In pol jaz, ne, v časopisu piše. Pol ona, pokličem policijo. In pol sem hitro odložil. Pa sem delal kakor, da se ni več zgodilo. In skoraj 3-krat so oni klicali policijo. Pol smo pravi nehali.
done a prank call, so I sucked at it. The guy on the other end was silent, I regained a straight face and tried to continue with the call. It went something like this. Sir, would it be alright if I borrowed one of the wheels from your car? What's your name, kid? My name is Bob. Really?
Zebore Konagoni.
You sure it's not Anthony? It hit me like a brick. I looked up at Anthony, whose face was noticeably full of fear. I hung up the phone, not wanting to be on the line with whoever that was for another second. Anthony, who the hell was that? I asked him. I don't know, he told me. Does your caller ID info display your name or something? No, it shows my dad's name. We hopped on the computer and did some research, trying to figure out how it was possible to get someone's name through their phone number. It didn't make sense how he could get Anthony's name so quickly. He was way too young at the time to be on any of those personal information sharing websites. We ended up asking a question on Yahoo Answers, since no one had a similar experience. The question turned up no answers.
Yahoo!
I suggested he call his dad, but he said he wasn't supposed to have anybody over for the weekend, so he didn't want to call. We planned on sleeping in the living room, so we just resumed watching the movie that we hadn't finished from earlier. Right after the phone call had left my mind, me and Anthony looked at each other when we heard his front storm door opening, and then the doorknob to the front door began to turn. It only was able to turn about halfway before the lock restricted it. Anthony turned off the TV, and I went over to the window to see who it was. I spread the blinds open. There was a tall guy standing outside. He noticed the blinds moving, and turned to look at me. I practically threw the blinds back into place. Me and Anthony hid in the kitchen, listening for any more noises. We heard the sound of the gate to the backyard opening, as it was right outside the kitchen window. God damn it, I said. I forgot to shut the back door. Anthony urged me to run and shut it.
To saw back door. Tle, zra u kuhinji.
I made it to the hallway leading to his back door, and froze. There was a silhouette standing outside the back door. I don't think he noticed me, but he was surely looking into the house. He opened the door and stepped inside. I tiptoed to the kitchen and motioned for Anthony to follow me upstairs. We made it to his room as quietly as possible, pulling the door shut to avoid making any noise. We crawled under his bed. He had cloth covering the bottom of his bed, so you couldn't see anything under it unless you actually moved the cloth. The doors downstairs all opened, each one getting closer to the stairs. Thumps finally began up the stairs, and he was right outside the door now. The door to the room opened. I could hear Anthony's breathing. It was too loud. Footsteps moved over to the closet, and then the closet opened. I could hear the coat hangers being slid around as the fabric of the jackets and coats rubbed against each other. Footsteps moved over to the bed and stopped. I felt like my heart was about to explode out of my chest. Anthony's breathing was too loud. I had to cover his mouth with my hand. Nothing but silence in the room now. We laid still for so long, I almost thought he wasn't even in the room anymore. I moved my hand away from Anthony's mouth and whispered in his ear, "You think we can make a run for it?" He was about to answer when the most disturbing, memory-haunting scream I'd ever heard filled my ears as Anthony was seemingly dragged out from under the bed. I crawled out and saw him struggling with the man. I desperately looked around for anything to use as a weapon. I settled with the screwdriver sitting on his nightstand. I hurried over to the man and drove the screwdriver into his back. He let go of Anthony as he let out a scream of agony, giving us time to get the hell out of the house. Running onto the road would give away our position too easily. It would take too long to make it to his neighbor's house. We dove for the tree line in the woods and took cover behind a bush, watching the house. The back door opened as the man stepped outside, looking around the backyard. He then looked out to the woods. I felt his eyes pass me as he scanned through the tree line. It seemed that it was too dark for him to see us. Then, He turned his head back in our direction. I ducked behind the bush. Joe, he's coming. What? Dude, get up, we gotta run. He was right. The man was approaching us fast. How could he have seen us? We ran through the woods with the leaves crunching under us, giving away our position. When Anthony tripped over something, I crouched down with him, hoping we had run far enough. Not even 20 seconds later, oncoming footsteps from the direction we were running from came fast. They slowed down only 2 trees away from us, as we lay face down in the leaves. Moments later, the footsteps take off in another direction. We waited until we could no longer hear them, and took off back in the direction of the house. While running, over the sound of leaves crushing and my heavy breathing, I could swear I heard leaves crushing from behind us. We made it back to his backyard, into his house, and this time, remembering to shut the back door. We were now able to call the police. Anthony stayed on the line with them, while I patrolled the back windows, making sure nobody was out there. It was so dark, though, I couldn't see anything. So I did something that seems stupid today. I turned on his backyard lights, and immediately in the distance, over by the woods, I saw him, standing in front of a big tree. He turned off back into the woods and disappeared out of sight. That was the last time me or Anthony ever saw him. I would be lying if I told you we heard the occasional knocks at our windows or something cliche. No, that was it. 5 years have passed and nothing has happened. Do I wonder if it was somehow linked to the prank call? Maybe. Does it make sense? Not really. But yeah, this was the story of how me and my still best friend Anthony almost died during a break-in.
Oh. Oj, więcej reklamy. Syłam to skoczmy folk.
Hawaii. We were on the island of Oahu, sitting on the beach. My wife got up to go to the bathroom, and when she got back, she told me that there was a creepy man watching her walk into the bathroom, and when she tried to walk out, he blocked her path. She only got away because there were 2 other people walking into the bathroom, so he got out of the way. I asked her what the man looked like, and she looked over, but unfortunately, she said he was gone. Our hotel was walking distance from the beach, so we got back quickly, but we made sure to report the man to a police officer we saw walking on the beach, and then we washed up before going out to eat. We ate at a fancy seafood place and did some walking around afterwards. Close to midnight, we finally went back to the room and began to wind down. Then we got a knock at the door. I looked through the peephole of the door and saw a man in a maid uniform standing outside. I opened the door, and he immediately tried to let himself in. I pushed him back a bit, asking him what he wanted. He told me he left something in the room while cleaning earlier and needed to get it out. The only thing, we left the do not disturb sign on the door all day. Then I noticed he was making eye contact with my wife. My wife then screamed, "That's the man." I didn't understand at first, but it was too late for that. The man had already lunged at me, holding my throat with one hand while reaching behind himself with another. He pulled out a knife and started swinging at me, and if it weren't for my wife coming over and smashing his face with the lamp, I would have been as good as dead. The commotion drew out all the inhabitants of the neighboring rooms. One of the women started freaking out and screaming, making the situation worse. We called the police, and so the commotion drew out all the inhabitants of the neighboring rooms. One of the women started freaking out and screaming, making...
Fuj, lejte to, fuck, ta ženska ima kosmate noge, fuj. Ženska, brite si noge, fuck. Prodiguje mi.
Situation worse. We called the police, and so did the hotel. It turned into a huge, horrible scene, but we were just happy to be alive. We were questioned when the police arrived, and some of the other people around us claimed to have witnessed it all. We still don't know what kind of intentions this guy had, but if I had to guess, I would say he wanted to get to my wife. He must have been one very dumb person to think he would get away with something like this in such a public building.
konc.
Phone rang.
Jep, konc je tako, folk, to, hvala za ogled, tudi če ni Fortnite. Po mojem, da boste zadovoljni in se vidimo. Ciao.